What if the person trained to catch killers was the killer herself and sat inside the LAPD for 23 years hiding in plain sight?
Welcome to the global phenomenon, Surviving the Survivor. Here's your host, Emmy Award-winning journalist, Joel Waldman.
What's up, SCS Nation? Welcome to Surviving the Survivor. This is the global phenomenon. We've got over 50 countries represented in this amazing community where we bring you the best guests in true crime. And tonight, a case that we go back in time for, but feels almost impossible. We're talking about a decorated LAPD, that would be the Los Angeles Police Department detective, a brutal 1986 murder, a love triangle. It's got all the ingredients for one of our guests, Eli Frankel, who makes documentaries. And then you had a chilling police interrogation that literally has gone viral decades after the murder, because you can literally watch the moment a police officer realizes that she herself is the suspect. Yes, we're breaking down the case of Stephanie Lazarus and that interrogation that everyone is talking about. Here to help us do it, we've got the great Natalie Levesque, counselor at law to me, the attorney, one half of a set of twins. Natalie comes on every so often. I got to tell you, she's an important lawyer. She's also a professor at the COE's alma mater. She teaches law at SMU, Southern Methodist University. But Natalie knows true crime like no one else. She lives it. She breathes it, occasionally eats it. And this was her choice. I'm going to explain that in a minute. Next up, he is my friend. He is a reality show producer. He is Eli Frankel, and he is the author of Sisters in Death. Nearly impossible to reach because he's now working on a sequel to this book. This book is Sisters in Death, the Black Dahlia, the Prairie Heiress, and their hunter. Eli Frankel, let me introduce the next guest, and then we'll have you break down what you're working on right now. Detective Phil Ramos needs no intro. He is the godfather of true crime. He is a 3-time Vegas Officer of the Year. He has done it all. Retired homicide detective, retired undercover narcotics, and he was sharing some crazy stories about the good old days of the Vegas PD. I never knew this. Ramos, you saw the Beatles and Elvis as a kid. Your own father, he was a police officer?
Yeah. In Vegas, yeah.
And you sneaked in. What was it like at how old, 10 years old or something to see?
I was 10 years old when the Beatles were here and 14 when Elvis was here.
That's pretty cool. Not everyone can say that they saw the man in the blue suede shoes live. Eli Frankel, your book, it's all over the place. Sisters in Death. It's one of the most famous cold cases. I asked Phil Ramos, and Phil's like, "Yeah, of course I know about the Black Dahlia." What are we working on these days, Eli Frankel?
Oh yeah, I got a second project I'm working on. I'll be able to talk about that fairly soon, but it's keeping me busy. But I'm so glad to be back on your podcast.
Thank you for being here. Go out and buy his book, Sisters in Death, available anywhere books are sold. Is it on Audible?
Yeah, sure is. Yeah, you can get it on Amazon.
Eli narrates the audio version. That's
I was gonna
the book.
If Eli did not have an Audible version, I was going to recommend my mother narrating it, but he's got that thing. How long did it take you to narrate, Eli?
It's about 5 days and maybe 8 hours a day. So 40 hours total to get it down?
That's a lot of work. Yeah, we did. I don't know. I think I told you this, Eli, but we did our narration, my mother and I, at a hip hop studio in Miami where Kanye was recording his last album.
Wow.
And it was quite interesting walking into a massive cloud of cannabis every day. It took us about the same amount of time, and my mother had no idea who she was talking to, but they all loved her, and I have no idea who she was talking to either. But
what was the cloud of cannabis from Kanye or your mom?
It was a mixture. It was both. It was like 50-50, and it was like a third Karm, a third Ye, and then a third, the entourage. But
Right.
yeah, it was a very thick cloud of cannabis every single day. I
Nice.
felt great. No wonder I was so relaxed. All right, so typically instead of Phil Ramos, we've got the great Steve Cohen, but Meave Moen, the busiest man in America, couldn't make it tonight, and I thought who better to bring in to talk about a homicide interview than Phil Ramos, who's probably conducted more than just about anyone in America. So we're going to get there. But first, Natalie Levesque, you told me about this story. You're the one who told me about it. Tell us a little about who this person is, Stephanie Lazarus, who is Sherry Rasmussen, and why are you so fascinated by this case?
This is my all-time favorite true crime case. The victim was Sherry Rasmussen, who was a very successful and nurse, and she was 4 months into her marriage with John Rutan when she was sadly murdered. And for a long time, LAPD thought that it was a break-in gone wrong because there were VCRs and stereo equipment stacked on the stairs. And I love this case. It was so fascinating to me because I was living in LA at the time, and 20 years later, they finally solved it. And LAPD realized it was one of their own. And it wasn't just one of their own, it was a highly decorated detective. Mm-hmm. And so I probably watch this interrogation once a year. It's truly incredible. I'm very excited for you to watch it, Joel. I think it is a master class in psychological misdirection on behalf. I mean, these detectives are incredible.
Yeah, and Phil Ramos will help break down that angle. Natalie, I hope I'm not betraying your trust, but you're a one half. You have a twin. Tell me your twin sister's first name again.
Hey, Joel, by the way, I hate to interrupt. I can't hear Natalie. Is that on my end or your end?
Oh, no. Eli, go out and come back in. And okay. Sometimes it's simple as that. Let's hope that is the case.
Okay.
But Natalie, let me ask you a question. What is your sister's first name again?
Stephanie.
Interesting. Stephanie Lazarus. Stephanie. Okay, so Stephanie, and she's obsessed with the Adelson case, Dan Markel and Adelson.
Adelson is her number one. She is the one that got me to start listening to you, Joel, on STS.
Really? Interesting.
Yep.
I have her to thank. Thank you. Eli, any luck there?
Yep, I can hear her.
Oh, beautiful.
Sorry,
yeah. It was a big technological move. Go out and come back in.
Yeah,
but, that's how we operate.
That's
I have my Fisher Price laptop over there, but I'm too lazy to go get it. So Sherry Rasmussen is the victim here. 29-year-old nurse, newly married. She was married just 3 months. Found dead inside her Van Nuys condo, brutally beaten, shot 3 times. Signs of a struggle. Bindings are attempted. She's shot through a blanket, which suggests apparently planning and not panic. A bite mark on her arm that becomes critical decades later. Eli, I just rattled off these things. 29-year-old nurse, newly married, beaten brutally, shot 3 times. Does this have the ingredients that you look for when you are producing a documentary or docuseries that you are so gifted at producing?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a pretty incredible case, but I think as Natalie has pointed out before, the story really lies with Stephanie Lazarus and her years-long escapades to cover up the crime. I mean, she essentially beat the investigators, the homicide department, at their own game, which is pretty fascinating.
Yeah, so Phil Ramos, this is obviously it's great to have you on here because we're about to watch this. What has become an absolutely viral police interview, and it's not short, so bear with us, everyone. And we're not going to interrupt every 5 minutes. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to play, we'll stop, we'll talk, we'll play, we'll stop, we'll talk. But Phil Ramos, you don't have to name names, but at any point in your very long career, did any police officers break bad in your department? How sensitive or hard was that to deal with?
Yeah, it was really hard. One of them goes back to the mob days that we were talking about earlier. One of my partners, when I was working undercover in intelligence, went to the dark side. And We had another patrol officer that decided he was going to go out and get drunk on his birthday and shoot into a crowd of Hispanic gang members and killed one of them, and he's doing life without. So, yeah,
Wow.
that's tough, especially when you have to go and arrest them in the locker room with their uniform on.
Wow. And so I assume you did that. Was that when you were in homicide? Did that happen?
Yeah.
Yeah,
that was in homicide. Yeah.
Wow. And that obviously is really difficult for you and puts a black eye on all law enforcement. But it's important to point out, 99% of law enforcement are good eggs, but you got to root out sometimes the bad ones. Natalie Levesque, I'm about to start to play this. We'll watch it in 10-minute increments. But Natalie, you're the one. So if there's something you need to tell us, you jump in, but just set the stage here. What the crime happens in 1986, I believe. What year is this interview? How do they get her to the interview room? Set the proverbial table here for us.
So this was 20 years after the crime, and a cold case unit who had just received funding realized that they had DNA from the bite mark that was on the victim. And when they tested it, the shocking thing was that they were told it was a female, which sort of threw into question the whole theory of it was a burglary gone wrong, right? Mm-hmm. Not to be sexist, but you don't see that often.
Yeah.
So when they talked to the family just said, well, there was an ex-girlfriend named Stephanie Lazarus. She's in LAPD. So ultimately, the detectives did a surreptitious follow of Stephanie, and they knew at the time of this interview that her DNA was on that bite mark. They also knew she's in the office next door, and she always carries a gun, of course, because she's a detective. Mm-hmm. So in order to get her into this interrogation room, they had to come up with a plan, and they told her, we need help on a case. Someone in jail is saying that they have information about one of your art theft cases. They told her this whole story, and that allowed them to get her to surrender her gun before entering the jail. So she's walking into this interrogation room thinking that she's going to be in charge. She's going to be interviewing this person who has information. And that sort of sets the stage for what's about to happen.
Yeah. Phil, I personally, but this is the reason I'm not a police officer, I wouldn't be maybe that concerned that she's going to pull the gun during the interview. Would this be a top priority for you, that if you're going to interview her about this case, sort of under the guise of something else, that you want her to come into that room weaponless? Is that very important?
Yeah, because you don't know what her reaction is going to be, especially after 20 years of her thinking she got away with it. Because every day she's thinking about it and looking over her shoulder. When is that door going to open, and who's going to have the arrest warrant for me? So yeah, it's you don't want to have a person you're about to arrest for murder having a gun in their hand when you're about to arrest them, especially another cop.
And Eli, just from a producer's perspective here, I mean, how does it up the ante from sort of a dramatic standpoint that now you've got one of your own, you're trying to disarm her before interviewing her, and you're bringing her into an interrogation room? It's not something we hear very often.
Yeah, I don't know. It's real life. I mean, I don't know how that translates to a document. It's
crazy, is what it is.
It's crazy. I mean, I'm not sure how that translates.
Eli, how come you and I did not become homicide detectives?
We should have. We would have been fired on day one, but we should have tried.
We would have had fun. Yeah,
a lot of fun.
Yeah, this is.
Yeah, I think Joel. One thing that Phil said that's important is they knew they were going to arrest her. Mm-hmm. At the end of this.
Yeah.
Okay.
So once you're saying someone to put their hands behind the back, you don't know also if they might harm themselves. That was the other consideration.
Very good point. Well taken. So I'm going to start this. Should I start it at 0-0 here? We'll watch the whole way through. Natalie, what is your suggestion?
I mean, that's the true way to do it.
All right, let's do it. You just stop us. Again, for you guys listening and watching at home, I don't want to keep stopping it. So we'll go in significant chunks. How long is the whole thing, Natalie?
Probably it's like an hour and 10 minutes.
Okay, so we'll be done within an hour and 20 minutes, but we'll get through it. Here we go, everybody. What's that, Natalie?
It's worth it.
That's right. Here is the interview of Stephanie Lazarus, convicted killer once with the LAPD.
Well, let me think. God, it's been a long time ago. I may have met her. Geez, you know.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you. You said you dated John. How long did you guys date?
I mean, well, are you guys? Is this something? I mean, you said I was going to interview somebody about art, and how you guys are.
Here's
I mean,
Stephanie. Here's the situation. It's basically, we knew that this, when we saw this in this chrono, that maybe there was some relationship there. That's what the chrono seemed to indicate, and we didn't want to come up to you at your desk and ask those kinds of questions or do anything. You know how up there people can see what's going on if you go into an interview room or people are in there getting supplies.
Okay. I mean,
so we wanted to afford you some privacy, some confidentiality to talk about this, because we thought it might be, something, you're married to someone else, obviously, and so forth, and that you may not want to, talk about these things in a setting where someone, we don't want the rumor mill or gossip or any of that kind of stuff to start.
That's fine. I mean,
so we did this just as a means to try and speak to you in just a confidential place where where your business isn't out there for other people in your division to know about.
I'm actually going to hold it there because, Natalie, I just want to make sure, and let me unmute you. I muted you and Eli. I just want to make sure. Is this the same version that we were thinking of? Because I thought we were gonna have a little more time before they got to this part of it. Just explain if we're watching the same hour and 10 minutes. Oh, we are. Okay.
Yeah, this is good.
Yeah. And so Phil Ramos, I mean, now that we're literally just watching the first couple of moments here, they basically inform her almost immediately that, no, we're going to be talking to you about you. And you could tell she looks extremely uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Did they get into it the right way?
Well, only the outcome will be able to figure out if that was the right way to do it. Personally, I thought that they went right into it and didn't give her a comfort level to get to so that she could start talking freely to them. It sounds like they were in there for just a couple of minutes and then started zinging her with questions. And, she's, whoa, wait a minute, what's going on? Without knowing how much they were going to try and get out of her and how much they had. And was this just a tool to try and get some statements out of her? Or were they, at some point, if they arrested her, at some point, they're going to have to Mirandize her. So to me, it seemed like it was pretty quick that they put her on the defensive like that.
And that's why I sort of stopped it. But Natalie, is this the full length one here? Because the COE clipped it. Is there another one where there's more time in the?
I think this is clipped, but I think it's fine because basically there was like small talk, and then they sit down, and we're starting where they're saying, "Look, we don't have a suspect. We didn't want to come up to you at your desk. This is what we're here for."
Okay.
We missed a little small talk, but I think it's good.
All right. So now what I'm going to try to do is go, what if we go in like 10-minute increments? Does that work, Natalie, do you think?
Yeah, that's great.
Oh, all right. So let's play it out for 10 minutes. We'll break it down.
Yeah, that's been a million years ago. I mean, what year is it now? 2009. I mean, I graduated in 82, yeah. We dated. I dated other guys. I'm sure he dated other girls.
Well, let me ask you, roughly how long would you say you guys dated?
Oh, geez. I couldn't even say. I mean, I started school there in 78. I started UCLA in 1978. I graduated in 82. I don't even remember what year he graduated, if it was a year or two before me.
Okay.
I think he was a little bit older than I was. I mean, I can't remember if he was born, let's say I'm born in 1960. I don't know if he was born in 58 or 59. I mean, I knew his parents. I knew his sister. His brother went to Northridge. His sister had spent the night at my house before. Obviously, I spent the night at his house before. He probably spent the night at my house before. Yeah, I don't.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, because from what you're telling me, is you guys dated while you were in college together, right?
Yeah, and probably after college. I can't. Geez, trying to think when I met my husband. I met my husband in. When did I meet Scott? Let's see. I was teaching dare because I met Scott when I was teaching dare up in Oregon. But we had long stopped, dating before that.
So you haven't talked to him for a long time?
Oh, I think I haven't talked to him in a long time. I couldn't even tell you when the last time I talked to him. I met Scott, I'm thinking in 92, maybe, April of 92. It was
Scott being your husband.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I was teaching dare. Let's see, what year is this? We'll be married. I got married in 1996. I think I met Scott in 92. Prior to that, I couldn't tell you how long I had talked to John prior to that.
But since you met your husband, Scott, you hadn't talked to him?
I mean, he may have called me once or twice before we got married.
Right.
Geez, I moved to Simi in 1994 because I lost my house in the earthquake.
Oh, really?
Quite honestly, I probably keep in contact with a few people from the dorms. We all lived on the 10th floor, and there's about 3 or 4 people I keep in contact with. There's probably like 6 or 8 of us that were all really close.
Mm-hmm. And who are those people?
Oh, geez. Diana Basta. People I still keep. I haven't been in contact with her in a long time. Mm-hmm. I mean, what's this all about? I mean.
Well, let me ask you, what ended the relationship between you and John?
It was kind of a weird relationship. I mean, we dated. I can't say that he was my boyfriend. I don't know that he would consider me his girlfriend. We dated. We did things. I played sports in college. He played basketball. His brother played basketball. It just didn't work out. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. It was like I went out with other guys, saw other guys, and went on lots of vacations.
And once you guys split, were you guys still friends, or kind of,
I mean,
is it friendly, not friendly?
No, I don't think it was not friendly. I mean, we were friendly. I know that we went to Hawaii at one point. Another friend of mine who's actually dying right now went to Hawaii with us at some point.
Remember roughly when that was?
Oh, geez. Let me think. I'd have to check my pictures. Or I'd say I'd ask Greg, but my friend Greg is like dying of liver cancer right now. Yeah, I mean,
And you were saying that
it's 2009 now.
Had you ever met his wife?
I may have.
Do you remember her name or anything, or? Or what she did for a living, or where she worked, or anything about her?
Well, I think I'm going to say that I think she was a nurse. I mean, I can't even remember how he said he met her. I mean, it's been so long ago.
Well, let me ask you, did you go to their wedding,
No, I didn't go to their wedding. No, did not go to their wedding. Couldn't even tell you what year he got married. I mean, it's been a million years ago.
You ever remember if you ever talked to her? Because it seems like a lot of you who were at the school at UCLA, you guys kind of were friends during and after school. So I don't know if you guys still associated afterwards once he was married or anything.
With him?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. I mean, I would say, the people that were on the dorm floor, we'd have get-togethers. There's probably like 4 or 5. I don't think he ever came. I don't think, no, it was mostly girls, a girl named Smita, Diane. There's 2 Dianes, but the one Diane, I don't think she ever came. I kind of lost contact with her. We were good friends on the floor. I mean, you know, again, I mean, what, you know, I don't understand why you're talking about some guy I dated a million years ago.
Well, do you know what happened to his wife?
Yeah, I know she got killed.
What did you hear about that?
I saw a poster at work. I'm sure I spoke to him about it. I think I spoke to another friend of his about it.
And how did you first learn about that?
Jeez. Someone could have called me. I could have heard it at work. I think at one point there may have been a flyer or something. I know a good friend of his.
Were you on the job back then when that happened?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I'm sure I was on the job. That's why I would have heard about it with the flyer. He had a good friend, Mike Boldrick, anyways, he may have lived in the dorms. I don't remember if that's how I met him. I may have talked to him. I mean, you know, I don't remember how I heard. I mean, I don't even remember what year it was.
And you think you said you thought his wife was a nurse. Do you have any idea where she was working at the time, or did he ever mention that to you? Was it a hospital or a doctor's office?
I'm sure he must have mentioned it. Now that you're bringing that up, I think she worked at a hospital somewhere. And yeah, I may have met her at a hospital. I may have talked to her once or twice.
At a hospital?
Or more. You know.
Being that you're kind of used to see John, you know, was everything okay between you guys? I mean, there was never anything uncomfortable or anything between you and her?
You know, I don't know. I mean, it's been so many years. I mean, uncomfortable. I mean, I can't even remember if we had a conversation. I mean, we may have. I may have seen her at his apartment. You know, geez, how many years ago was that? I don't even know what year she, you know, got killed.
Where was his apartment?
On Roscoe.
Okay.
Yeah, Roscoe and east or west of DeSoto. Either east or west of DeSoto.
Do you know where he moved after? Did he move after he got married, or do you know? Or
I'm sure he did.
Did you know where he was living, or
somewhere in the valley?
Did you ever visit him and his wife?
No.
No, never went out to, you know, get together, dinners, anything of that nature?
No. Like I said, his sister used to come over. His sister had come to my place. I knew his brother because his brother played basketball at Northridge. In fact, I was just coming across some pictures that I just scanned from. I take a lot of photos, like 10,000, and I just did a service where I scanned everything. And I'd seen some pictures of his brother playing basketball.
You just put them all on your computer so you could have them accessible and do things with them?
Well, my partner is a big photo thing, and he had a deal to scan. So I spent a ton of time just scanning photos. I mean, I paid a company to do it. So I've got photos of, his brother, his sister, you know.
10,000 pictures?
Oh, yeah.
How long did that take them?
Months.
That's about 10 minutes in. Natalie, you get the first crack at this. You know, she's shrugging her shoulders a lot. I took some notes to ask Phil about. She's asked when she married her own husband. Sherry Rasmussen is the victim. She's doing a lot of stuttering and muttering and kind of gesticulating. What intrigues you about this so much?
So I love it because at the beginning, she knows all these specifics. She knows dates. I'm friends with this person. This is what they do. And as they close in, she's going to have more and more of a selective memory. So just keep that in mind, how specific she is at the beginning. She's listing trips and dates.
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting when they asked about her husband. Well, I know she got killed. It's a very odd thing to say about someone who's like brutally murdered, especially when you're a cop. So I find that a very interesting tell, because it was almost like she did something, the victim did something wrong. And I also thought it was very masterful how the detectives, who are clearly playing this psychological chess match are saying, well, did you ever go there? Did you ever talk to her? Because of course they need to lock her in because they know her DNA is on the victim's arm.
Eli Frankel, let me unmute you here. What did you, what was your take on this? I mean, she brings up some very weird things. You know, she's like, at one point she says, I don't know what to tell you. It didn't work out. And then she just offers up, well, I went on a lot of vacations, and then goes to a random friend of hers who's dying of liver cancer, brings that up twice. So she's like putting things out there that, you know, aren't necessarily germane to anything going on. I mean, just to bring up these extraneous details. Your thoughts on what we just watched?
Yeah, I mean, I picked up on that same thing, and it struck me that maybe she is offering details because she wants to appear as if she's being very forthcoming and giving and telling them everything she knows. But it's interesting too, I think in her mind you can see the wheels moving. She doesn't know what evidence they have and what they know, and so she's got to be careful not to present something that could be a lie. Like, for instance, do you hang out with them at such a time, or do you see them here? It benefits her to say, no, I never met her or saw her. She keeps saying, I'm not sure, maybe. You know, to me, it indicates that she doesn't want to contradict potential evidence that they might have. But I wanted to ask Phil, you know, she's remarkably nervous, and she's, as Natalie said, she's giving a lot of tells. As a detective and having been involved in this police department, would she not be aware of those tells in herself? And do you think that maybe there's some kind of like cognitive dissonance here where she's not really aware, you know, she's so nervous that she may not be able to calm herself or follow the rules that she would be aware of for a suspect? Or, you know, what is her mindset with that? Because the most striking thing is that she is clearly really nervous and appears to be someone who got caught.
Yeah, she's bouncing all over the place. The only thing I can attribute it to is possibly she doesn't have a lot of experience in interviews and interrogations, and her own techniques in the interviews and interrogations aren't what clearly. She doesn't have the same skill level of that particular aspect of conducting an investigation is. I mean, she's like got the deer in the headlights. Look, why are you asking me this? Why, you know, what's going on? A more experienced detective or officer would just stop and say, wait a minute, this isn't what I'm here. What's going on? Why are you guys asking me about this? And she alluded to it just briefly a few minutes ago, and then they just, you know, brushed over it and kept going. And she's still wondering what the hell's going on. And they're getting their little ducks in a row, the cops are, to start hitting her with this and that and see what her reaction is. But she's lost, man. She doesn't know what's going on, and she doesn't have the wherewithal to ask what's going on. I'm not going to talk to you guys about this. This is not what I'm here for. So be upfront with me.
And I thought that was a great, that was a great question from Eli. And Phil, back to you. She's asked, you know, did you go to his wedding? This is the girl, you know, she's accused of killing this guy's wife. And she's like, I can't remember. I mean, I can tell you what weddings I went to and what weddings I didn't go to. Yeah. And she's like, and she asked rhetorically, don't get why you're talking about him. His wife got killed 1 million years ago. Well, it was 1986. It wasn't 1 million years ago. I mean, to Eli's point, she's very weak, in my opinion, poor at being cool under pressure here. And to Eli's point about cognitive dissonance, is she just somewhere in the back of her mind, you think she knows she's caught here and she's just in a panic and can't hide it?
Yeah, I don't know that she's gotten to that point where she knows she's caught. She's trying to figure out where they're going with all of this and what they know versus what she remembers. And there may be things that she has forgotten in that period of time. But her answers to their questions are just, like I said, kind of out there, and it's not what you would expect from someone who was not involved in the crime. They already know that they got her. They got the DNA. They're just figuring out how to hit her with it and see if they can get her to the point where she's going to give it up and say, okay, yeah, you got me. But I don't think it's hit her at all yet why she's really there.
Levesque?
Yeah, I wanted to add one thing. I think that when a close friend of yours, their wife gets brutally murdered and it's never solved and you're a cop, you remember how you found out about it. So I thought that that was another tell. I think it's one of those things like 9/11, where it's such a unique thing that you're like, oh yeah, I remember hearing about it. I got a call from so-and-so. And she doesn't remember. Maybe I saw a flyer. Maybe I saw this. I think that that's a tell too.
Phil, what about that? Is that like a universal truth? If you're some guy you dated who you were close with and his wife then gets murdered, you're going to know that date?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and that's a good point. I mean, the 9/11 connection is everybody knows where they were on 9/11. And so this lady would have absolutely known where she was, and she would have known about the murder, and not from a flyer or
she was the cop.
So, yeah, so it's like I said, she's trying to figure out where they're going, and she's not coming up with very good answers or very believable answers. I don't think it's going to take them very long to, as we say, break her, and then we'll see where she goes when she knows that she's the real reason she's there.
All right, here's the next 10 minutes. We're doing this in 10-minute increments here. You're watching the viral police interview of one-time LAPD detective Stephanie Lazarus, who is incarcerated in the murder of Sherry Rasmussen. Here we go.
Now, what do they put that on a? I'm just curious myself. Do they put it on? They get the all on one DVD. They don't need like a hard drive or anything.
No. There's like, I think 11 DVDs. Yeah, I don't even have time.
It's a series of DVDs that they put them on.
Oh yeah.
Oh okay.
Yeah, I mean
I'm not that familiar with computer stuff, so that's why I was asking.
It's like 11 DVDs.
Oh okay.
So I haven't had a chance to go through them. You could go through and pick which ones you don't want. I don't have time to do that.
Right.
So like you said, did I don't think we ever socialized. He'd still call me. I can't say that I would. I mean, if he's married, I don't know that I would have called him. I mean, maybe. Who knows? I don't know. It's been a million years ago.
How long was John married before his wife died?
I have no idea. I have no idea.
And after his wife died, did you talk to him again or anything?
Yeah, I mean, I did talk to him.
Mm-hmm.
I talked to him, probably his parents, probably some other friends. I'm sure I talked to him.
Yeah.
But you're not sure where he moved to after he got married?
No idea. I mean,
never went over to visit him or
I don't think. I mean, I don't think so. I mean, I don't know. I don't think I did. I know he lived on Roscoe for a long, long time. I may know. I mean, he may have told me where they lived, somewhere in the valley. I mean, he may have said I lived over such and such, but I couldn't tell you specifically where.
But you don't remember specifically ever going over to visit him or visit them and wherever he moved when he left Roscoe?
I honestly, I don't know. I don't think so, but
okay.
I don't want to say no, I don't think so, and then he says, oh yeah, she came over for something, dropped something off. I don't know.
So if you did go over there, just be like a quick thing, like you're saying, drop something off, or
maybe.
But you don't remember as far as like going there to have dinner or like a social, anything at the house, party?
Well, if you guys know something, I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, but
after John's wife died, and you said you may have been talking to him. Did your relationship start up again?
I would say no. Again, can you give me a year? I mean, this is like 2009.
She died in 1986.
Yeah, I think it was 86.
1986.
Okay. Like I said, I'm faintly remembering that I went to Hawaii with my friend Greg. Greg and I got certified for scuba diving. And I'm thinking that John met us there, meaning Greg and I. That could have been, I got certified toward the end of 88, or I mean, 88, 89, because I got recertified again, and it had been like over 10 years. So I got recertified. My husband and I got recertified. And I'm pretty sure that John met us there. Again, I'd have to tell you what year it was. I'd have to look at my pictures, you know. And other than that, I can't even say. He may have called me, you know, at my home. I may have called him. I don't think he got together with our group.
I don't think after his wife's death.
Or even before, I don't. You know, we went to weddings together. You know,
Did you?
I got pictures. Like I said, I couldn't tell you years. It's been a million years ago.
After he got married or whatever, were you dating anybody in particular?
And that was what year? 1986, you said?
I think he got married in around 85, 86, something like that. Were you seeing anyone seriously, or?
God, I couldn't say. Geez, I'm trying to think. I mean, you know, I dated a fireman.
What was his name?
Mike Arndt. And I'm trying to think.
Was he LAFD or?
He was LAFD.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think when I went. I probably met Mike. I went to Devonshire. Let's see. I left Hollywood in 80. I worked Hollywood 84 to 85, I think. And then I went to Devonshire, and that's when I met Mike. And some other firemen. And
what, the station next door?
No, actually.
Because I used to work Hollywood, so I just wonder if it's the station next door.
It was when I worked Devonshire, I met Mike.
Oh, okay. All right.
And I'm trying to think. I went to Devonshire in 85, and I'm thinking that I would have met him probably sometime shortly after I went to Devonshire, because I met him and I actually met his buddies at a fire. And then Mike and I dated, you know, just really kind of casually. And we remained good friends.
You still in touch with him, or?
Unfortunately, he passed away.
Oh, really?
He died in he had a car crash. He did race cars, and he went heading into a wall. I couldn't tell you what year that was. But he passed away. He was in a coma, and they pulled the plug.
Right.
Seems like anyway. So, you know, I couldn't even tell you what year. I'm thinking I went to Devonshire in 85, and I know I met the guys because it was kind of a funny incident of how I met them, and that's how I remember. It was sometime probably 85.
Right.
You know, if we specifically, I don't even know if they remember. The other two are now married to somebody else, because I kind of. All three. I mean,
did you kind of socialize, like when you were out with Mike? Did those guys come out with you too? Was it kind of like, did you do stuff with his friends, or?
Well, there were three. There was two firemen, Eric and Gary. I met them first. Then they introduced me to Mike. So that's how I met Mike. Mike and I dated.
Mm-hmm.
So, and not. I wouldn't even say. I couldn't even tell you for how long, because then it was we decided, you know, it wasn't working out, and we'd be better friends. And you know, he introduced me, I think, to some other guy who now is on LAPD, Randy Cordobas.
I don't think I know him.
He's a detective. He's got a twin brother who's on the fire department. That's how I met Randy, because he had a twin brother, identical twin on the fire department.
Okay.
And
anyway, you and Randy.
I dated him. When I couldn't tell you, it was before he came on the job.
Before Randy came on the job?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And that was, I'm trying to remember if Mike may have, I'm trying to remember. Mike may have dated a girl that he dated. that sounds too weird. Randy may have dated a gal that Mike was dating, and then Randy broke up with that gal. I couldn't even tell you the gal's name, if I'm even thinking of the story right. And then I started dating Randy.
Yeah.
Oh. So again, I mean, not like I was a huge floozy or anything, but
no, but you know, I mean, a lot of times, right? At least from my female partners that I've had, it's hard dating guys that aren't involved in kind of our circle, right? Because some guys are intimidated by, women police officers.
Randy was like an engineer at the time. He was like some kind of an engineer.
On a rig, on a fire truck?
No, an engineer.
A professional engineer.
Yeah, and then I think he lost a job and then came on the department.
I see.
So.
Getting back to some stuff, as far as you recall, after John's wife died, did you start a relationship again with John, or dating casually or anything like that?
Like I said, he met Greg and I in Hawaii. Okay.
That was something you guys kind of planned together, like go as a group, or you ran into him? Or?
No, I think that obviously I must have talked to him, and I said, hey, I'm going to Hawaii with my buddy Greg. We're scuba. We just got certified scuba diving. We're going to be in Hawaii. Hey, if you want to come and join us, come join us.
Right.
And I think that's what it was. Okay. I may have asked some other people to as well. What island did we go to? I think the Big Island in Kauai. He either met us on the Big Island or Kauai. I'm thinking of Greg and I might have scuba dived a lot on the Big Island as well as Kauai. I don't remember which island. Again, I'd have to look at my pictures. I traveled a lot on my vacations. I mean, I was always gone for at least a month.
That is the next 10-minute block, and you heard her at the very end there say she was always gone on vacation. Natalie, this part, she starts offering up dates again, kind of more specific, that has nothing to do with the case. Your thoughts on this little block that we just watched?
Yeah, a couple of things. I think it's clear she over-explains when she kind of feels pressured. Like, oh, I'm going to just over-explain and tell you all of these things that don't matter. I think she kind of thinks like, maybe I can run out the clock if I just keep talking. I thought it was interesting when they asked her if she'd gone to John's house. I don't think I went there. Why? Well, can you give me a date? Which suggests like you either went there or you didn't go there, right? But then she's leaving open like, oh, my memory might be bad. Because if you followed this case, multiple times the couple found Stephanie in their house. So the theory was she used her like pickpocketing tools that she had for LAPD and broke in because she was sort of obsessed with them. So, but she doesn't know if they know that or not, right? At this point.
They found her on video? What do you mean?
Like John and his wife would walk into their house and Stephanie would be inside. Whoa. So she was sort of like obsessed with them and stalking them. And so the theory is that they said at court was Sherry, the victim, had stayed home from work sick that day. So the theory is they think Sherry heard someone downstairs walk downstairs, and Stephanie on her day off from work had broken in just to sort of be a weird stalker person, right? And that's when the fight ensued.
Whoa. That's creepy as hell. Eli Franco, let me unmute you. Your thoughts on hearing that? I did not know that she would just periodically appear, and then she's off on a day off of work, and Sherry happened to be home from work, and that's probably how this all ensued.
Yeah, I mean, it's not surprising, actually. In watching this last chunk of 10 minutes, it struck me that she's very animated and she's moving a lot, but when she's listening to the cops, she's not doing a lot of motion. She's actually totally still. And it's interesting that she's not doing a lot of self-soothing physically, like in terms of body language. She's not she doesn't demonstrate nervousness. She's not rubbing her hands or touching her face or kind of adjusting her back the way that people do in order to self-soothe when they're nervous. And it's interesting, everything with her is performative. It's big and animated in her hands, and I don't know, and it's almost as if all her energy is being put into convincing them that she has nothing to do with anything, and she's there to answer their questions, even though she's really not. You know, she's got a lot of plausible deniability going there, which is, I may have seen him, I may have not. I may have seen him in Hawaii, which is like, I mean, of course you would remember running into somebody on a, you know, exotic trip to Hawaii or something. She's both animated but also very still, which seems to kind of indicate a sociopathic personality. She's very off-putting in that sense, that she's selling, I don't really know anything and I'm a good person. And, you know, for the second time she mentions a friend who is either sick or died, I think trying to gain sympathy. She's a very odd personality, and everything's external to convince you that she's just a good person who knows nothing and wasn't involved in this.
Eli, who could say that you wouldn't have been a great homicide detective? These are great observations. Natalie, did you have a comment before we go to the...
Well, this interrogation is known for her tight-lipped smile. Whenever she's uncomfortable, she's like, "Hmm."
Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting Eli brought that up.
Yeah, for sure. Phil Ramos, curious what you think of what Eli just said. I mean, when you're in an interview, Phil, are you ever trying to gauge if someone is sociopathic or not, or is that even of interest to you, or is it just getting to the truth? Let's start there.
Oh yeah. You're looking for all kinds of responses and body language and reactions and stuff like that. You're looking for tells on specifically the hot questions that you know the answers to, and the ones that are you expect to get a reaction from the person. How do they react? How do they not react? You know, what body language do you see? Are they very animated with their answers and, you know, moving her head around, and how's the eye contact, right? It looks like she's keeping some pretty good eye contact with these guys. It's hard to say because they're not in the frame, but this is a really interesting interview. I think she's at the point now where she's really starting to realize, I'm in a lot of trouble here, and I better start answering these questions as best as I can. I'm still surprised she hasn't got up and said, "Hey, I'm out of here, man. If you're going to arrest me. Otherwise, I'm out."
I'm thinking to myself, who the hell did she not date? She dated everyone and their brother. Literally, she's talking about a twin brother. But Phil, before we go to the next chunk, and I'll play out 15 minutes for the next one. So Phil Ramos, I'm trying to be, and Natalie and Eli, but mostly Phil. I want to be careful with his time here. But Phil, what do you think of the job that these two detectives are doing working together? Is it a strong interview here, in your opinion?
Yeah, they've got it planned out pretty good, and they've worked together for a while. They know what the one's going to say next, and you know, they're a good team. This isn't their first rodeo for sure, and they play off of that. So they're doing a pretty good job. I give them an A on this one to this point.
Yeah, Natalie, without a huge spoiler here, does she start to really crack soon? Is there something we should be on the lookout for?
Yeah, there's going to be a moment when she realizes I'm in trouble, and that's coming up. And I'll just say, I agree with Phil. The detectives are so good at leading her to the water versus being aggressive.
Yeah. Well, when that big moment happens, I'm not the smartest, brightest bulb in the box. You might want to flag me, but I'm here. We'll go 15 minutes now, and if it happens before then, we'll stop. Here we go.
And I would go places, and I would either run into people or, meet people.
And Greg, this Greg we're talking about, he was like someone you were dating, or just a buddy?
No, you know what? I would say we started out probably just buddies, and either I was with somebody or he was with somebody, but it was kind of like we ended up just kind of being like brother and sister. And maybe he wanted something more, but you know, it never, you know, worked out. But we did things together. You know, I would consider him. I've probably known him. Let's see, I've been on the job almost 26 years. I've probably known Greg 23, 24 years.
So you still talk to him?
Oh yeah, he's dying of liver cancer right now. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. So, you know, I consider him a good friend. You know, I don't know what to tell you on that.
I mean, when you heard about John's wife being killed, I mean, what was your reaction? I mean, you thought you heard about it, what, through a friend or in a bulletin or
Either
something?
a friend or a bulletin. I called the family. I called maybe some of his friends that I knew. And I mean, obviously it's shocking if I heard it at work, you know, which I may have, I faintly remember a bulletin going around. Either that or somebody called me. I also don't remember.
Right.
And then I probably called his family, I don't know initially, I can't say if I initially spoke to him or not. I honestly don't remember. I may have said to somebody, hey, have him call me if he wants to talk. And then he may have done that. You know,
Do you know what the circumstances were regarding her death?
Geez, let me think back. Geez, I don't know if it was, you know, if it was a burglary or something. Yeah, it's been so many years. I can faintly think that I may have saw a flyer.
Yeah.
May have had her picture on it. You know, that's why I say, if somebody had called me, I may not have known what her last name was. I may have. Maybe if you told me, I would remember it.
Do you remember her first name?
Shelley, Sherry, I don't know, something maybe, you know, like I said, it's been so many years. And
from all the years, as far as you can remember, do you remember ever talking to her?
Well, I said earlier, you know, I mean, I may have, you know, I may have talked to her. You know.
You mentioned a hospital, maybe. You may have talked to her at a hospital.
Yeah, yeah, I may have, you know, I'm thinking back now, you guys are bringing up all these whole memories.
No, it kind of dusts off the cuff.
You know, I mean, geez. I'm thinking that, because, I mean, we would date, he would date other people, I would date other people. And I think, you know, at one point, I mean, he may have been dating her, or I don't know, maybe he was married. I don't even remember. And I'm like, you know what? Why are you calling me if you're either dating her or living with her or married to her? Because I honestly don't remember the time frame. And I'm like, come on, knock it off. And now I'm thinking I may have gone to her and say, hey, you know what? Is he dating you? He's bothering me. And so I'm thinking that we had a conversation about that. One or two, maybe. You know, it could have been three. I don't want to say I had 3 conversations with her.
Like at her work or at their house or?
No, I'm thinking that you know, he obviously must have told me where she worked. I'm thinking it was a hospital somewhere in LA. And I could have been, again, what year was that? Where was I working? You know, I'm trying to think of when did you say they got married?
I don't know. I think it was like in 85 or 86 or something like that. You know, we just kind of picked this up. We don't know a lot about it.
I mean, I could have been working in Hollywood, it sounds like, if that's where I was working. So I could have said, okay, well, you know, and I went and talked to her, and just said, hey, you know what? You know, if he's dating you, he's keeps calling me. Why don't you tell him to knock it off or whatever? And, you know, because I probably would have told him to knock it off.
You would have told John?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I would have said, hey, you know, And again.
But you wanted to tell her too? You wanted them both to know?
Yeah, I mean, if you're getting called, and I'm faintly remembering when Scott moved in with me in 1993, sometime in 93, because I met Scott in April of 92. I was teaching DARE up in Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
And he moved down. In fact, he may have moved down in 92. 92 or 93. There was a big earthquake. No, when was the big earthquake? No, 94.
94, yeah.
So I think Scott might have moved in 93, sometime in 93. Excuse me. I haven't had my breakfast yet. And so, excuse me. And so I faintly recall that John may have called a few times, and I'm like, hey, he goes, look, can you talk or something? I'm like, no, I can't talk. I've got, I'm living with somebody.
Right.
And that could have been a few times. It could have been once, could have been twice, could have been 3 times. Yeah, I don't know,
And that's during the period of time of the earthquake that you're.
Well, no, probably after Scott moved in. I think I met Scott in April of 92.
Oh, okay, right before.
April of 92, because I stopped teaching DARE. I think I stopped teaching DARE sometime in 92.
Mm-hmm. And when you say that you may have, that you talked to his wife, said, hey, or I don't know if it was, I guess it wasn't his wife at that time, girlfriend or whatever. And
yeah, I don't know if it was his wife or his girl.
Right.
I mean, quite honestly, I don't even remember.
When you said like, hey, he's calling me, he needs to knock it off or what have you. I mean, was that civil? Was there? I mean,
no, there was not. I don't think there was anything. It was if the conversation lasted a few minutes. I can't even remember. And what is it like? We went out to lunch or anything.
Right, but there was no like arguments or fights or it didn't get heated or anything like that.
Not that I recall. No, I mean, I would think that would stand out. I would think. Now again, that's not standing out in my mind.
So you didn't have any problems with her then?
No.
You didn't have any issues with her?
No, I mean.
But let me ask you. It seems like you didn't have any issue. Now, did she have an issue with you as far as because now you're telling her, hey, tell them to stop calling. Now, she's like, you figure she'd be threatened by you.
I don't know. I mean.
From what you remember, as far as when you talked to her, maybe you didn't take it as serious, but maybe did she? Maybe she was bugged.
You mean like was she throwing things at me or something, or?
Well, no, just as far as you're trying to explain, like, hey, have them stop calling me. Stop playing games.
I tell you, if the conversation, I couldn't even tell you how long the conversation. If you said, did it last a half an hour? Did it last 3 minutes? Did it last 20 minutes? I can't even remember. It's been so long ago.
You just remember talking to her, telling her.
Yeah, and that's why you said, how many times you talked to her? I don't know how many times I talked to her. Maybe it was once, maybe it was twice, maybe it was 3 times. I honestly don't know. I don't know what year it was. If he said, I met her in such and such year, I'd go, okay, well, I don't even know what year you met her. I graduated from UCLA in 1982. Okay. I graduated in 82. Like I said, I don't know if he graduated. I know he was a little older than I was. So I don't know if he graduated a year before or 2 years before, because people are on different, either on the 4-year program or the 5-year program.
Mm-hmm. What year did you come on the job?
83.
Oh, so almost pretty much immediately after you got out of school?
Yeah, I worked at a law firm for a year, and then came on the job. But anyway, in regards to seeing him, not seeing him, we went to friends' weddings that were, from UCLA. I may have gone to some of his friends' weddings from where he worked. He may have gone to things with me, I mean, I don't know how many times we went to do things, or didn't do things.
Right.
Like I said, his sister, I know his sister, his brother, his sister, I know stayed at my townhouse a number of times. I couldn't tell you how many times.
Right.
I would watch his brother, I should take pictures at a basketball game or two.
Where was your townhouse at?
In Granada Hills, below the Odyssey.
I don't know.
I'm sorry. The 405 and the 5. The 405. the 405 turns into 5 to 118. They came down in the earthquake.
Okay.
So.
Okay. And you're saying when you went to see her, do you remember if it was at her house or at the place she worked at?
No, I'm thinking that it was probably, for some reason, I want to say that the hospital seemed that, you know, if you say he got married in 85 or something, I'm thinking that, you know, maybe the hospital was on my way to work in Hollywood. I mean, that's kind of sounding familiar.
Would you have gone on duty?
Oh, no, I'm sure I wouldn't have.
No.
I'm pretty good about not doing stuff.
Oh.
You know, I mean, no, I'm not saying that, you know, you haven't done stuff on duty, but I would have, I mean, I would have been working with somebody,
Oh, yeah.
you know, so I wouldn't think, I mean, I try to avoid doing stuff on duty.
Okay.
So.
So you would have gone, if it was en route to work, you more than likely you would have gone to her work and had this discussion with her?
I mean, that's sounding familiar. I mean, that's, now that you guys are bringing this stuff up, I mean, that sounds familiar. But again, I mean, you know, what's this got to do with me dating him and, you know, her getting killed? I mean, I don't, you know, I don't have anything to do with it. And you got something that's, somebody said, you know, whatever. I mean,
well, like we said, we just literally got this the other day, and you're going through it.
Yeah.
And you see
and you saw me say,
your
oh,
name.
it's next door.
Right. And so, you know, I mean, obviously it's like we recognize the name and we know that, you know, you work next door to us. And so we're trying to get some background. We're trying to figure this out. I mean, this is from a long time ago.
Oh, I know. And
you know, and things have been kind of slow for us. And so, you know, Chief Beck has said, hey, you know, I want you guys working. I don't want you just sitting around reading the paper.
Yeah.
So he's kind of pushing some older cases out even to the guys that work active cases because, you know, and so we see this and we're just like, oh, well, you know, we want to talk to you about it. But of course, the only reason we did it here is because we're getting into some pretty personal stuff in your relationship.
You know, my husband's on the job, and we've been
so
married.
We don't want to take the risk. We don't want to take the risk. We're in one of those interview rooms, and even when the door closed, someone's going to get supplies and sees us on a monitor, or hears or whatever.
No, I appreciate it. I mean, I appreciate it. Like I said,
that's where people go when there's orals. You know, when they're doing orals, guys will go in there and try and watch. Like, what are the answers to the questions?
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So we just want to afford you the most privacy and confidentiality we could.
No, I appreciate it. Like I said, I mean, this goes way back, and I mean, it was very sad. You know, obviously, I haven't, you know, when we were in college, some of us would go down to his house in San Diego. I went down to his house with him, you know, with him. And I know I'm trying to think of some other people that may have gone down.
Is that where he grew up? Is down there?
Yeah, down in San Diego.
Oh, okay.
I know his dad was a professor at San Diego State. I don't know if he still is.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what happened to his sister. Don't know what happened to his brother. You know, I'm sure his dad's probably retired by now. He was, I think, older, even back then.
Right.
And I can't even tell you the last time I had any contact with any of them. It's been so long.
Did he tell you what happened? Like what he heard from the detectives or the police or?
You know what? He may have, for some reason, I'm thinking that, I mean, again, this is like drugs or something. I mean, I think I faintly remember him mentioning something maybe about cocaine.
That she was involved with that?
You know, I don't know that he said she was involved or they thought she was, you know, again, it's been so long. You know, he could have told me the whole story of what happened. And I mean, like I said, I'm faintly remember either between him or the flyer, that there was some kind of a burglary, you know.
Let me ask you, did the detectives ever reach out to you?
No one's ever talked to me. I don't think anybody ever talked to me about him.
It seems like back then
you know, well, I'm thinking that I did talk to a detective. God. Well, what division was it?
In Van Nuys?
And where was?
Keep talking while muted. That's a 15-minute block that we just got through. And this is interesting because she's asked about the victim's name, which is Sherry Rasmussen, and she right away, she says, Sherry. This has got to be the most important name in her world for years, for decades, including this point, because she knows that she killed this woman, and DNA proves it. Natalie, your take on this chunk, and what I want to just clarify, they talk about how they're revisiting cold cases, the detectives do, and that her name was in a file. Was that true? I mean, it was the DNA that precipitated this interview, right? But was there any other reason that they brought her in at this point? Do we know how long they were working on this cold case?
So Sherry's family always said you need to look at the ex who works at the LAPD. They actually sued the LAPD after she was convicted, saying that the LAPD covered it up because LAPD never interviewed Stephanie Lazarus. Unfortunately for them, the statute of limitations has lapsed, so that suit did not go anywhere. So the reason her name was in the file, because the family kept saying he had this ex who was harassing our daughter, and she was showing up to our daughter's work. So when they were asking her about that, like, did you ever go to the hospital? That fact did come out in court, that is true. Stephanie would drive by when she was on duty and sort of harass the victim.
Yeah, she sounds a bit like a psycho. Eli, your thoughts on this 15-minute chunk? I mean, the cops, under the guise of not knowing anything, at one point they say, we don't know a lot about this. And she says, yeah, sorry, I haven't had my breakfast yet. She's going every direction possible to kind of just play along and put the inevitable off. Your thoughts on this particular chunk we just watched?
Yeah, what struck me is that she, at the beginning of this chunk, you can tell she's beginning to tire. She's getting, it's a lot for her, and there's a lot going through her mind, and she begins to slow down a little bit and seems more exasperated. Like you can tell she's thinking, how long is this going to go on? Because she's, again, putting so much energy into this performance. Everything in her mind is, how do I get them to back off? And you can see her beginning to tire. And then about halfway through, she bounces back a little bit, telling herself, keep going, we'll get through this. But it's interesting too, the cops have a very interesting strategy. You would assume in an interrogation like this that they would get kind of more aggressive as they go along and begin to kind of pick away at her story and sort of change their tone, right? To keep her off balance, they become more aggressive. But instead, they remain monotone throughout it. And they let her talk. They don't overtalk her. They ask simple questions. And in a way, it's almost as if they're playing rope-a-dope. Like they see how animated she is. And as a result, they're going to let her tire herself out. And they can just keep hacking away very simple with these real simple questions. And she has to, deal with this onslaught. But they're not changing their strategy or their approach to her throughout because she's doing the heavy lifting for them. And she keeps sort of contradicting herself. She doesn't want to give enough to get nailed for, well, we have evidence that you actually did see him, but at the same time, she doesn't want to admit anything. So she says stuff like, I don't do stuff on duty, meaning personal stuff. Why she didn't stop by the hospital or whatever it was. And then she says, not a minute later, I try not to do things on duty. She just will not commit to anything, which points to someone who is very aware of her words and that can be used against her. And again, this plausible deniability comes up. Well, I did say this, but I didn't say that. And then it's super interesting when they begin to explain to her why they're questioning her, almost as if they're not apologizing, but they're saying, look, we had to do this for this reason. She really calms and she's less animated. And you can tell she's thinking, okay, they're explaining themselves. I'm going to get through this. This is going to be okay.
Very astute observations, Eli Frankel. I'm very impressed. Phil Ramos, to Eli's point, they're not like cranking up the volume here. They are rope-a-doping her, an old Muhammad Ali tactic. At one point, she says, yeah, I had no issues with her, meaning Sherry Rasmussen. And then asks a rhetorical question, what's all this have to do with me dating him? Phil Ramos, I mean, am I correct that in her mind, this is probably the most important person on her mind, that's been on her mind for the better part of 2 or 3 decades, right? Since 1986. You have to think, no matter what level of sociopathy she has or she doesn't, she knows who this person is. She knows what she did. This has to be in her, emblazoned on her brain, correct?
Yeah, yeah. She's trying to minimize whatever knowledge that she has, because she doesn't want them thinking, well, if I tell them everything I know, then it's going to look bad for me. And they're just giving her more rope. They know they've got her. They're just giving her more rope, see if they can pull something out of her that is very incriminating, something that only the killer would have known, type of information. And they're reeling her in right now, and she doesn't realize that she's got the hook in her mouth.
Is there anything that you would be doing differently?
No. Well, look, I can't say unequivocally no, because I don't know what they knew going in. I don't have the tools in front of me that they had, so I'm not sure what set of tools they're going to be using next, or what their aim is, or what their tactics are. So without knowing their game plan, it's hard for me to say if I would do anything different.
Did you have like a style that was unique to you, like where your partners knew this is Phil Ramos' style, or would you always adapt according to the interviewee?
Yeah, you adapt to get that rapport going with them. You have your own little unique style and way of saying things, 2 or 3 times in a different way, but you don't want to give the bad guys the heads up before you're ready to say, hey, we got you. It doesn't matter what you say. And your partners know when you get to that point, and sometimes they'll jump in and distract the person because they know you're getting to that point, and sometimes they'll just let you run with it. It all depends on how good of an interview you've got going, and this one's pretty good.
All right. Here we go. Next 15 minutes, we're watching the Stephanie Lazarus interview. One-time decorated LAPD detective, now serving a life sentence in the murder of Sherry Rasmussen. Here we go.
Die working.
1986.
I would have been working in Devonshire. I'm thinking that I did speak to somebody.
Oh, really?
I couldn't tell you who it was.
Because it doesn't
It was
say
probably
anything.
on the phone.
Okay.
Would have been somebody in regards to this, or just?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I don't even know if you said a name, if I would remember it, because I worked Van Nuys for a while.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I worked.
Detectives patrol?
No, worked detectives.
Uh-huh.
When did I go to Van Nuys? I worked Devonshire till 88. Then I went to Dare till 92. I worked twice at Van Nuys.
Both as a detective?
Yeah. Sometime in the 90s. Yeah, I know before I busted my leg up, I was there in 98, because that year sticks out because I had a really bad leg injury. And I was there prior to that, but I couldn't tell you what year. It was just a few years. I made detective, I think, in 93. So I was at Van Nuys, and then I went back, and then I had a leg injury, and then they transferred me to Devonshire because I couldn't drive.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't drive very far with my bad leg injury. So, but yeah, I think I talked to somebody.
Would you remember any of the conversation as far as what they were looking for? Or?
Couldn't say. I mean, they may have told me. I said, hey, I went to school with him. Either somebody called me, or I saw the fly. I may have seen the flyer at that point, and I called up. If someone's name was on the flyer, I may have called to speak to them. I said, hey, if there's anything I can do, call me. This is where I work. I went to school with them. couldn't say. I couldn't tell you who it was.
But you do remember that someone you think reached out to you?
You mean the detective?
Yeah, called you up and talked to you.
Or I called them, one of the two. But yeah, I remember talking to somebody, but I'm thinking it was a man. I'm sure there's probably more men back then.
Yeah,
Right.
more.
I bet.
So again, that's really all I can remember about that.
Yeah. Let me get back to as far as when you said that John was calling you to see you, and during that time you felt that he was either seeing her, was he engaged or married? Did you know?
Couldn't say.
You don't remember?
I don't know.
Well,
let's see. My husband.
Did it ever appear?
Well, no, that would have been. Scott moved in '93, so that would have been. You said '86 or '85 or something.
Scott's your only husband? You've never been married?
No, never been married. I got married in, I think, '96. Well, no, I got married in '96, but he moved in '93.
Mm-hmm. But during that time that you were seeing John, was he acting kind of squirrely or kind of sneaking around when he'd hook up with you or anything like that to make you think, hey, yeah, this
Well,
guy
he probably was.
because from the impression I get is you've known him a long time.
Well, let's see.
From what?
I met him in '78. No, I met him in school. I started UCLA in '78.
So you know him well during that period of time.
Yeah, was he acting squirrely? I don't even remember where he was living then.
Well, after.
I don't.
Well, let me ask you. After he hooked up with.
I mean, if he was living on Roscoe or wherever else he was living.
Right.
Well, after he hooked up with Sherry, do you know where they were living?
No, you asked me that already.
Uh-huh.
And I said, well, obviously they were living in Van Nuys division.
Yeah.
I may have known.
Mm-hmm.
Again, did he ever give me the address? Maybe. I don't remember. I don't know.
Because the only reason I'm asking you again is because as we've been talking, I know some stuff has come to you because you're like, oh, it seems like you're So that's why I'm asking if you've ever been to the house.
And when you said Van Nuys division, I'm sure he could have told me. He could have told me. He could have told me where he lived.
Mm-hmm. Did you ever have gone there?
I don't think I've ever gone there. That's what I'm saying. I don't want to say, no, I've never gone there. And then you say, oh, I was at a party. Because I don't, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Like I said, we've got these friends. We have parties. My house, their house. I just don't think John ever came to, again, at one point, because we knew people from school together. I knew different people. He knew different people. I knew people that he knew from his work, that lived in the valley.
So as far as for social events or anything,
No problem.
you're not sure if you ever been to the house because.
But it's safe to say that would have been the only time, like for something social.
Yeah, if I went there for something social, yeah.
Okay. Because I know you went to talk to her at the hospital regarding this issue with John. To kind of like, hey, what's going to happen here with this thing? But would this ever have followed up to her house when you went to talk to her to say, hey, you know what?
I don't even know that I knew where they lived. That's what I'm saying. I don't. If I knew where they lived and I'd been there, if it was for something social, I would. And I can't see how many times I saw her face to face. He lived on Roscoe. Did I ever see her there? I don't know. I may have seen her at his apartment on Roscoe.
Mm-hmm.
I may have met her there.
But you didn't have any issues with her, right?
No, obviously, if he was dating me and dating her, I probably said, hey, pick or something,
Fair.
back
That's
then. I can't say that we ever screamed or, he was a pretty mellow guy, I think I was pretty mellow. I don't think we had some big, huge blow up to say, why we stopped dating or, and I even think that when I was dating him, I was probably, like I said, I was probably going out with other guys and he was probably going out with other girls.
Right.
I don't know.
I mean, would you remember if she snapped on you and just like, hey man, it's my man, you leave him alone, blah, 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 that kind of stuff? And would you remember an incident like that? I mean, because that would be like, what?
Well, and maybe that happened. I mean, gosh, it's been so long ago. That's not ringing a bell.
Mm-hmm. Because at times I've seen you around at our office.
I'm crazy.
But you're always kind of like real. I mean, you seem kind of bubbly.
Oh, people think I'm really hyper. But I can get upset, and then I forget 5 seconds later, how guys razz you and you go, I've done that in the office, but it's like, people
water
think,
under the bridge.
Yeah, it's like people think I'm crazy, and then they think I'm crazy at home, and I'm a hyper person at work. I enjoy my job. I get excited. I enjoy the job. I've always enjoyed the job.
You got a good gig, so.
I don't know. It's like I said, this stuff's been so long ago. I'm sure as soon as I walk out here, I'll go, oh shoot, I did 25 things I'll remember.
But you'll call us, or you'll just come over to our desk.
Yeah,
and tell us.
I don't know what else you need to know. Like I said, we knew friends together. A lot of the friends that that we socialized in the dorms, I would say, there was a group of us that we were all really close. Even this one guy I was thinking of, Diana Basta. We were all really close. I haven't talked to her in a million years.
Diana Basta being a friend of you and John's, or?
Yeah, we all lived on the dorms together. I don't know if she lived on the same. I'm trying to think. I know John lived on our floor because his roommate was Dave Newman. Dave Newman now is a big shot, whatever, movie producer, director, something, I don't know.
And that was John's roommate?
Yeah.
Oh,
and
okay.
then the guys that lived across from me, Jim Jaskell and Roy Sakabu, something like that. They lived across from me. Diana Basta, I don't know if she lived on our floor. Maybe she was the RA. Diane Sherman, because I still remain friends with Diane Sherman. Not that I'm not friends with the other people, I just don't see them. A gal named Smita, Sally, Kathleen, so we were all on the floor. Some of them were athletes, some of them weren't. I said John played basketball, his brother played basketball, I played basketball at UCLA for 2 years. One of the girls swam on the team, one was on the crew team. So we all did stuff together. And then I'd say after we all graduated, we went to weddings. I went to weddings.
But Sherry wasn't part of this circle.
No, I don't even know how he met her. I don't even know where. I don't know where he met her from. I don't even know. He told me where he met her from. He may have told me. That's not ringing a bell. And there was lots. There's just. There was other people that knew other people, that were friends of everybody's. I don't know what else to tell you.
Well, one of the concerns I had is looking at some of the notes is some of Sherry's friends said that you and her were having a problem because of the John situation.
Well, number one, I don't know who her friends are. Because again, I don't recall if he did tell me where he met her. I don't know even who these friends are. A problem. Like I said, if I spoke to her, I'll go on as far as a limb, and I don't even want to say I spoke to her 5 times because that's probably not even true. I can't even remember. Again, did I meet him at her place when he lived on Roscoe for I think quite a while, but I couldn't tell you how long he lived on Roscoe. And the only reason I remember the place now is because it's like a huge dope place now where they, it may have been back then, but maybe we didn't know back then. I could have met her there. I could have, I don't even know that I met any of their friends. I can't say that. I don't know that that's a true statement.
Well, that's what I'm reading, is that you guys have problems with each other and words are being exchanged, and it's all relating to John.
You know what? I can't say.
You can't say?
No, that doesn't even ring a bell.
So, it seemed like, you would recall something if somebody's going off on you, right?
I would think. I would think.
Yeah. Because it's.
But that
Because it seems like your relationship with John was kind of. You've known each other for a lot of years.
Yeah, it was just it was like.
But it doesn't seem to me, from what you're telling me.
We were never engaged.
Right.
It wasn't like we were planning to get married. It was like, it was. I don't know how to describe it.
Would you say there wasn't a lot of drama in this relationship?
Oh no, I don't think there was drama.
Okay.
Yeah,
So that's why I'm asking, as far as what the friends are saying in regards to this, the problems that they're saying you were having with Sherry. It seems like the relationship is just going on an even plane.
That just, I don't have the recollection of that at all.
No.
No.
And because from what you're telling me is when you guys met at the hospital, you guys talked, but it wasn't, from what you recall, confrontational from either side.
No, I'm trying to, turn my memory back, and I'm trying. I can't even picture the conversation. I can't even picture the conversation.
Well, let me ask you. At the hospital, it never got to the point where people are going, hey, go to your own corner type of thing.
I don't think so.
Nothing like that.
I don't think so. I really don't. If you say people said that, that's not ringing a bell to me at all. It's not. That's not ringing a bell to me at all.
Was there ever a time when you and Sherry were talking and John had to maybe go like, hey, you guys relax, or anything like that?
I think so.
All right, we're getting there. That was the next 15 minutes. The floor is yours, Natalie Levesque. She does in this exchange say, "I'm crazy. I can get upset," but denies that her and Sherry have any problem. Your thoughts?
It's kind of wild. People think I'm crazy. That's kind of wild, right?
Yeah.
And then her wild facial reactions. Like, people have told us that you kind of have a problem. It's very theatrical. I think that the detectives are really good at this boiling frog strategy, where there's just this gradual escalation that you can see, but they're so laid back about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I also thought, did you guys notice at the beginning when she you already asked me that.
Yeah.
Kind of broke out of character for this 1 second, sort of like chiding them.
Yeah.
I thought that was fascinating as well.
Yeah, 100%. I marked that down. I'm just looking for it in my notes. It was something, I guess, about had you been to the home, and she says,
did you know where they lived?
Yeah, you know where they live, right? Yeah, and she said, right, and she kind of snapped. You know that I've answered that. But she does. Eli Frankel go into this whole weird thing where she tells everyone, I'm crazy, I'm high energy, I'm hyper, I can get upset. And she gives some example of, a time she got, where she gets quote unquote razzed by the male police officers. Was that a tell? Is that a given that she is in fact crazy?
Yeah, she's being honest in that moment. And probably not aware that it's kind of contradicting the position that she's taking vis-a-vis, Sherry's murder and obviously whatever thoughts that they have against her. But I thought it was intriguing. And to Natalie's point, the cops continue to be very calm and monotone. They're giving her the space to just talk. They're not trying to kind of pin her down. And she's calmer in this chunk. She's more comfortable in the conversation. And I think she believes she's past the worst part of it. They've said to her, as we heard in the last chunk, that she's, they're explaining why they had to interview her. which is really smart because she thinks they're communicating, look, we got to get through this, but it's going to be okay. And so in this chunk, you can tell she's a little calmer here. But it's interesting, as a result of her being calm, you can see more the moments when she's not, when she's, again, overperforming and overreacting. And the two areas that she consistently overreacts to are anytime the house is mentioned, right? Every time they bring up the house or being at the house or going by the house, she gets very animated. She kind of cuts them off. And you can tell that's a sensitive area that's triggering her. And then the second subject that seems to trigger her and get her to be more performative is any questions about Sherry. So if you didn't know anything about this case, but you were analyzing that body language, those would be two very big tells that the house and Sherry are something that are making her very nervous that she has to overcompensate for. And I thought it was interesting too. She mentions constantly throughout, she's not sure, she doesn't remember this, she might have been there, she might not have been there. She then, when she's talking about UCLA and the dorm room and the floor they all lived on, which is obviously a time in her life that she really enjoyed, she mentions every single person's name. And she remembers their first and last name, right? She's going like, yeah, Bob Johnson lived in that room and his roommate was so-and-so and Nate lived in this room with her. She knew every name, but she doesn't remember if she saw somebody in Hawaii, years later or whatever. So, filled with contradictions here. And I don't think she's aware of them, which is really surprising considering that she, works for LAPD and obviously has been involved in questioning subjects a lot. And the last thing I'll say is, it's interesting how she always cuts off the cops, right? They start a question, and then when she figures out where they're going with it, she cuts them off to get the answer out, which on its face would seem to contradict somebody who's withholding information, right? She's being very forthcoming, but you can tell what she's trying to do is she's so anxious to get them off her back that she's trying to just get it over with, answer the question, move on, and let me out of here. So, so many obvious tells throughout this.
Phil Ramos, did Eli Frankel make a fatal career choice? Should he have been a homicide detective? This guy's got great, really interesting observations, Phil Ramos.
He could have skipped right on past detective and gone to defense attorney school.
All right. I love it. I'm up for it. Let's do it.
Yeah, he's got to go back to become a criminal defense attorney. We need one more, Eli.
Fun.
Phil Ramos, if you're doing this interview and the person you're interviewing starts telling you, I'm crazy, I can get upset, you take them at their word?
You let them keep going and show how crazy they are, because that's going to that's going to play out really well with the jury when they see, okay, yeah, so she's admitting that she's crazy. Let's see how crazy she thinks she is.
This part of it is always fascinating to me, Phil Ramos, because I don't think most people understand this. But even when you're in an interview room, are you like, you have one ear inside that courtroom already, thinking to yourself, when this case gets prosecuted, this is good. Like news people will interview somebody and I'll say, wow, that'll make a great soundbite. But are you thinking this is going to be great for a jury because she just said I'm crazy? Are you hearing that? And are you letting, like you said, letting more of that come in because it's going to help you in a prosecution?
Yeah, not only that, but you're also listening to defense attorneys going to run with that, and we need to get that straightened out, because you got to think like the defense attorney. What are they going to attack? What, where is the weaknesses on your case? Where's the weaknesses on this witness? What is going to inevitably get that one person that it's not beyond reasonable doubt. So yeah, you're doing a little bit of both. You're wearing several different hats in there while you're talking to them.
Interesting. Levesque, it seems like we're getting to the aha moment here, and I was getting nervous, so I stopped there. It was right at the 15-minute mark, but are things about to go south for...
You got to watch and see.
Here we go. Stephanie Lazarus, former disgraced LAPD detective, now serving a life sentence, being interviewed in a murder that she's convicted of committing. Here we go.
How about, ever going to her house and having a dispute like that?
I'm just, if I met her ever at his apartment, maybe. I mean, maybe we could have met. I could have met at her apartment. I'm thinking that the hospital thing, that sounds familiar. That I met her there. I just can't say that I've ever. Again, was I there with other people? I don't. I don't know. I don't think I ever met her there or him there, meaning one or the other. I don't think so. I can't. I don't think so.
Because I mean, I know the way my wife is. At our house, she wouldn't want my own girlfriends there, you know. So I don't know if maybe she had the same mentality towards you, as far as you ever being there, or being welcome there, you know. Because it's.
You know what? If somebody said I was there when they were there, then that's possible.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't recall. I mean, I don't think so. It's not sounding familiar.
Yeah, because I guess basically what I'm asking is, you know, were you ever welcome to the house? Like, you know, hey.
Oh, come over?
Yeah, come on over. We're having a barbecue, you know, a dinner party, Christmas party, whatever.
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm just trying to think. You know, like I said, because there were so many of us that the two Dianes, Jim Jaskell, Roy, Smita, this gal Smita, another friend of ours, Beth. She passed. It seems like everybody I know is passing away. She passed away. She was a child diabetic and got very ill. We would all socialize. Like I said, I don't think John ever. It's hard. I don't want to say he never socialized with us. You know, it's been. I'd have to almost go back and look at pictures, because I take pictures. I mean, I usually when I go to functions, I have 10,000 pictures. Okay, I'm a picture nut.
Mm-hmm. Let me ask: when you were seeing John, would you? I take it he would pick you up in his car. You go in her, you know, your car, things of that nature. When you guys would go out.
Well, yeah, I mean.
Do you remember what he drove?
Well, I know at one time he drove either a 240 or 260Z.
Any other cars that stand out in your mind?
There it is.
I don't know how long he drove that 240 or 260Z for. And the only reason I say that is because I think I may have a picture of it with him in it.
What kind of car did you have back then?
Let's see. What year?
Or are you like one of those young cops that's like, oh, I got a paycheck and bought a new car?
Oh, no. I've only had like a few cars in my whole life.
So what'd you have when you came on the job?
Okay, well, my first car was a 68 Chevelle. 68 Chevelle. And then I had a Toyota, some kind of a Toyota hatchback, but I forget what the name of it was.
Like a Corolla or Tercel or something like that.
Tercel.
Yeah.
And then I had my truck.
Did you ever have any problems with your cars?
Like what?
Just anything in general, you know, car wrecks, anything stolen.
Yeah. No, my car's never been stolen. Oh, no, crashed, hit and run. My Tercel was hit and run. Again, I got pictures of the hit and runs. I don't think any of my cars have ever been stolen. No. My cars haven't been stolen. Broken into.
None of that, huh?
Oh yeah, my cars have been broken into. You know, but no cars have ever been stolen.
Mm-hmm. How long? Well, tell me about this car getting broken into.
Now, my car has been broken into several times.
Oh, really? Did you ever lose anything? Or?
Yeah. Now that you mention it, let's see. I had a gun that was stolen. I had other stuff that was stolen.
Not a duty gun, was it?
No.
That's good. Is it ever recovered?
I don't know. No, I don't think so. Not that I know of.
Never been notified?
No. Car's been broken into Yeah, several times.
Where did that happen? When your gun was taken?
Mm-hmm. Trying to remember. I'm sure you guys must know. Because my car was broken into in Ventura. I think in Santa Monica. I have relatives that live in Santa Monica and Venice.
Who lives there?
My uncle. Well, I had several uncles. Yeah, could have been Santa Monica, Venice. My car's been broken into in Ventura before. So.
Is your mom still around, or?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Your dad?
Yeah, but I don't really have much of a relationship with my dad.
Yeah.
So I couldn't tell you where he lives if you want to know.
Oh, really?
No. Yeah, couldn't tell you.
Well, like I said, as we were looking at the case, and we had read the notes as far as from Sherry's friend saying you guys had problems or words, and they got heated. And the reason we're asking you is they had mentioned that an incident at her work had occurred, and they've also told us that an incident at her house occurred.
You know what?
And this is at her house during the period of time that they're married.
That's just not sounding familiar at all. I mean, you know what? That's just not sound. Again, if someone says that I was at her house and I had an incident with her, familiar.
And this is an incident where you showed up. You weren't supposed to show up, and things got heated.
At his house? Yeah. That just doesn't sound familiar. I mean, it's not sounding familiar.
I'm going to hold it right here. We were buffering for a second. We're going to be okay here. I'm going to let it catch up. But Natalie, you can tell the moment has arrived where they're about to go in for the kill, no pun intended. How are you feeling having watched this 10,000 times before?
Well, I love the moment where they're asking about her cars that she drives. And have you ever had one stolen? The reason they're asking that is because 3 days after the murder, her gun got stolen out of her car in Santa Monica. So she had to dump her service weapon because that's what she used in the murder. And so they're trying to get her to tell it. And I thought it was very interesting when she said, well, I'm sure you guys must know.
Yeah, she does say that. She also describes herself as a picture nut. She takes all these photos. Eli, I stopped it there because the moment of truth, I think, is coming any second here. These police officers, I think, are doing a remarkable job, these detectives here, with their line of questioning. And to Natalie's point, for a minute, I was wondering where were they going with this stolen car, and then realized exactly where they were going. Their performance up to here in terms of the detectives, Eli.
Yeah. So it's interesting. Right before they start going in for the kill, as it were, she, again, picking up from where we were in the last chunk, I think she's in this kind of lull where she believes that she's going to be able to get out of this. They've explained why they have to question her, and she's feeling a little more comfortable. She's less animated than she was before. And as a result, it's really important that they maintain this lull, which they do really, really well. Her face, she becomes more herself, right? She's more comfortable. And you can tell her facial expressions get more exaggerated. She looks eccentric. She looks weird. And her eyes widen. She'll say something and her eyes go wide like that. And it's not that she's necessarily more comfortable with what they're talking about, but she's more comfortable that she's not going to get nailed for this. And as a result, her body language is more honest. It's really showing who she really is. And you can tell that the little moments that seep out kind of are demonstrating somebody who is really, really not well and is sort of a very strange personality, very eccentric. And I just, this section is fascinating because we're seeing the real the real Stephanie Lazarus here. And then I thought it was interesting, again, she has this great memory for all the makes and models of her cars. I mean, she kind of stumbles on the Tercel, but she pretty much knows every make and model of her car. So when the memory serves her memory is great, right? And also somebody who has 10,000 photographs, like this is somebody who records. She wants to remember, with photographs, and yet she can't remember anything through this whole line of questioning, which is, she's contradicting herself just in that. And then I thought it was interesting when they start asking her about her cars and her guns. For the first time, she does something which is kind of indicative of self-soothing, which is she takes her finger and she puts it against her cheek, and she's holding her face in a way, even though she's not holding it up, she's touching herself throughout that. That line of questioning made her nervous, and she needed to soothe herself by feeling her finger on her face at that time. And then there's this little moment, when they mentioned the incident with Sherry at work, you see her do something that she hasn't really done before, and that she kind of sits up and adjusts her whole body, right? She moves her whole body, and which is she's all of a sudden a jolt passed through her when they asked her that, and she's got all this nervous energy and she's got to let it out, and you see her whole body changes, which is so contradictory to the way she's been behaving throughout. She's been very, very still, except for obviously the exaggerated motions, but all of those are sort of planned, they're performative. In terms of how she really is, she's very still, but all of a sudden that question sends a jolt through her. And as somebody who's interrogating her, that would send a signal to me, this is it, this is really important, which I think they pick up on. And that's why we're being sent now on this cascade towards the inevitable conclusion that we're coming to.
Yeah, the psychology of this is fascinating. That butt movement, Phil Waters, another homicide detective, calls them butt wipes, and he points them out when I do them, which makes me incredibly nervous. Phil Ramos, this is, it seems like they're just having a conversation, but there was a whole strategy here, as there always is, going into the interview room. And in your opinion, we're about to watch the finale of this, but what is critical that they do, that these detectives do now? What are some key things that they've got to check off their checklist as they go in for this proverbial kill here?
Well, the physiological response itself is red. Look at the color of her cheeks and her nose. I mean, that's almost Rudolph color red nose. I mean, that's an extension of, the body language of the veins popping out in her neck and shortness of breath type of thing. That she knows that she's done, and that's her body responding to that. Now she's just trying to figure out if she can get out of it. But that's a whole completely different person that was speaking 45 minutes ago.
Yeah. All right. So this is going to be the conclusion here. I don't know how many minutes are left, but we'll watch. If there's anything really wild, we'll pause it. But otherwise, we'll try to get through as much of this as we can here. Here we go.
So
Not at all.
now you're saying not familiar because it's just
Well-
you remember, or
Well,
it's just
you know what? I'd have to say I don't remember, because I don't remember. That doesn't sound familiar.
I mean, would you remember something like that in your life?
Well, I would think, but
Sort of drama involving, the other woman type of thing.
Did you ever fight with her?
you mean like we fought?
Yeah. Did you ever duke it out with her?
No, I don't think so. I mean,
You'd remember that, right? That would be pretty
yeah, I would think so. I mean,
specific.
yeah, like I said, I mean,
traumatic.
obviously, it just doesn't sound familiar. I mean, what are they saying? So I fought with her. So now, I mean, I'm getting the jump, the leap. Excuse me, I haven't eaten. They're saying, okay, I fought with her, so I must have killed her. I mean, come on. I mean, that's, I don't even know who these people are. I can't even say I met any of these people. I mean, it's insane. If it happened, I honestly don't remember it. That's all I can tell you. I mean,
but I don't know. I mean, would it be something you would remember? I mean, because I don't know if any other intense incidents in your life that have occurred. I mean, you'd recall those, right? I mean,
well,
like a use of force at work or a car crash, something you're involved in, you'd be like, yeah, I remember.
You would think I would remember. I mean, I would think if it was something that crazy. I mean, I can't say. You say, how many fights have you gotten into? In your life. I mean, a few at work.
Well, fights at work are kind of different because we've all had uses of force or whatever. But
well,
I mean,
didn't even have even a lot of those. I mean,
right. But if you're actually, I
mean, I played.
Like if Dan and I got mad at each other and we threw blows in the squad room, I mean, 20 years later, I would remember it. I mean,
I would think I would remember it, but that's what I'm saying. That's not sounding familiar to me at all. I mean,
let me ask you. I mean, throughout your life, would you remember the number of fights you've been involved in? And I don't mean kind of like a bump or something, just a physical fight where everybody's hitting each other, scratching, pulling, whatever.
Maybe. I mean, I can't say I've been in a lot. I played sports.
Yeah.
You get into scuffles there, and
and you recall some of those, right? I mean, just.
Yeah, I can recall some of them.
Games get intense.
But like I said, you saying this is just not ringing a bell.
Nothing.
I mean, but I don't know what to tell you. It's just that's just not ringing a bell to me.
It'd be something.
I would think I would remember.
Yeah.
I mean,
if you're in this,
I would think so too.
If you're in this other girl's house and words are exchanged, I mean, you figure you recall.
I would think.
Especially if it got physical, right?
Well, I would think.
And it's relating to, a guy that you were dating, but she's dating now, and it's just kind of like a whole love triangle type of thing. I mean, you figure you remember that, right?
Well, I would think.
So.
I mean, I don't know what to still tell you.
Yeah. No, because I'm looking at the notes and these people are kind of, they're pointing the finger at you.
Well,
and
I mean, that's not ringing a bell to me. So, I don't know, it's, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, that just sounds crazy to me.
Yeah. So you offhand, you don't recall ever going into her house and having words and physically,
no.
Attacking her attacking you.
No.
Nothing like that?
No. I mean, that's no.
Nothing.
No. No. Not at all.
Okay. Well, on some of the, on this case, this occurred in '86, right? Detectives processed the scene, things of that nature. They did fingerprints and all that stuff. You know the standards.
Mm-hmm.
You've been doing this longer than I have.
Well, I don't know about that. I got 26 years on, going on 26.
19. So, but as they processed everything, they did the best they could at that time, and they looked at a lot of people and different things in this case. And you're right.
I mean, if you guys are claiming that I'm a suspect, then I got a problem with that.
Okay.
Okay. So, if you're doing this as an interrogation, you're saying, hey, I'm a suspect. Well, now I got a problem with, now you're accusing me of this. Is that what you're saying?
We're trying to figure out what happened, Stephanie.
Well, I'm just saying, do I need to get a lawyer? You're accusing me of this? You
don't have to. I mean, you're here of your own free will. I mean,
no. I know, but
you're not under arrest. You can walk out.
You can leave whenever you like.
Well, but, I'm trying to give you some background of how I knew him, and now you're telling me that somebody's saying that we had this big old fight, and I don't even know what you're talking about. And I don't want to get in trouble for something that I didn't even do, or you're saying I did something.
Okay.
Yeah, we understand.
I mean, how would you guys like it if the tables were turned on you?
I understand. No.
No, that's what we're telling you. I mean, you're free to go whenever you want. If this makes you uncomfortable and you want to,
now you're starting to make me uncomfortable.
The thing is, I mean, detectives did what they could at that time on the crime scene. Okay, and the burglary thing you're talking about, that is an angle that they looked at. I go, but now we're looking at everything else on the case because nobody was ever arrested on the case.
I don't know that or not.
Okay. Now, what we'd like to do is, obviously, you know about all the DNA stuff and things of the nature that, gets done on cases nowadays. If we asked you for a DNA swab, would you be willing to give us one?
Maybe. Because now
Because
now I'm thinking I probably need to talk to a lawyer.
Okay.
I mean,
Well,
because I know how this stuff works. Okay, don't get me wrong. You're right. I have been doing this a long time,
yeah.
and I wish I had been recording this because now it sounds like there's you're selling these people say I'm fighting with her, and now it sounds like you're trying to I've been doing this a long time.
Yeah, we know.
Okay, and now it almost sounds like you're trying to pin something on me.
No,
now I got that sense.
Well, what it gets to on these cases, and you know it as well as I do, our job is to identify and eliminate suspects.
I can't believe this.
So if we ask you to point to give us a DNA sample, a buccal swab, so we can identify or eliminate you, would you be willing to do that?
Maybe. Because I know this.
Well, that's where we're at too. I mean, because right now, from looking at the evidence, it's it's possible we may have some DNA at the location.
That's great.
And we're going to do what we can to try to put this thing together. And your name's in the book. These people are pointing at you for whatever reason.
I don't know why.
And,
that's just crazy. I mean, that's absolutely crazy.
And it would be irresponsible on our part not to look at it.
I know. You guys have to do your job. And I guess I'm going to have to contact somebody. So.
That's fair.
I mean, because I know how this stuff works. I mean, I just can't believe it.
I mean, we understand that. I mean, if we were in your position, I mean, we would feel the same way.
I just can't even believe it. I mean, it's just, I mean, I'm shocked. I'm really shocked that somebody would be saying that I did this. I mean, we had a fight, and so I went and killed her. I mean, come on.
Well,
that's.
Okay.
All right.
Well, thanks for giving me the courtesy. I wish I recorded that.
Thanks for your time.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right, Stephanie. Take care.
All right.
And that's all she wrote. The end of the Stephanie Lazarus interview right there that we get to see. Natalie Levesque, you watch that like once a year. I'm going to put up some photos of different people. This is Stephanie Lazarus, I guess when she was on trial. But what do we know happened after that interview, Natalie?
So she walked into the hallway, then she was Mirandized. They arrested her, and then they actually bring her back in, and you see her handcuffed, and they sit her down in the chair, and she looks completely defeated at that point. And she never got bail, so that was it for her. She's been in jail and prison ever since.
Is it a life without parole sentence?
No, sadly, because it happened in 1986, the sentencing guidelines were that of 1986. So I think she got 25 years. Parole board actually recommended that she get released like a year ago, and Newsom overruled it. So she's up again in 2 or 3 years.
Really? Here we're looking at, I assume.
That's John Rutten and the victim, Sherry Rasmussen.
Yeah, that's what I thought. May she rest in peace. Do we know what he's up to these days?
He remarried, and he's living in Laguna Beach, and he testified at her trial, and he went to her sentencing, and it was one of the most brutal things I've ever watched. I mean, he was in tears, and he said, the fact that I'm the reason that she was murdered, like, brings me to my knees.
Eli Frankel, what are your thoughts on the tail end of that interview? It ends with literally her tail between her legs, and then she's, as you just heard, Mirandized and arrested. This is Sherry Rasmussen from back in the day, but your thoughts on how that all came to an end there?
Yeah, I mean, it was a super interesting ending, obviously. Big turn there. She's so much angrier. She's, evidencing so much frustration and anger through this. Obviously, she's realized what's about to happen, and that comes from having been done, having done this for years on the other side. And now all of a sudden she's in a position where she's the one going through it and she doesn't like it at all. And she's tried to throw them off throughout this whole thing. And then all of a sudden it becomes obvious that it hasn't worked. And it's really interesting. The moment where she seems to realize it is not when they're hitting her with cars and evidence and this and fights. I mean, obviously she's uncomfortable with that. But you can see the turn really happen with her when they say to her, well, you know, she asked, do I need to get a lawyer? Which is kind of her way of saying from cop to cop, guys, is this, where are we going with this? And am I going to get arrested? That's kind of the subtext of it. And they say to her, they don't say like, it's fine, don't worry, relax. They say to her, you're free to leave. You're here voluntarily. And that's the moment where she turns. And the reason is because she knows what that line means. That means that we're interrogating you because you are a suspect and we're going to arrest you. And everything you're telling us is voluntary, but you probably should have a lawyer. That's what that means. And she said that, she's probably said that a million times to suspects in other cases, right? She knows what the intent is behind that line. You don't have to stay here. You're free to leave at any point, which most people would think, oh, yeah, you know what? I don't need to talk to you. They're saying, like, I don't need to answer these questions. But for her, it's a death sentence because she knows what the intent is behind that. And that's where things really go down, is that little line, which seems so innocuous, right? It's just a procedural thing. She knows what that means. And that's where everything turns. It completely triggers her and it turns everything on its head.
Wow. Fascinating analysis here, I got to say. The eyes on this woman are also fascinating. You look here and you look here, and there's some scary eyes there.
Charlie Manson eyes there, man.
Yeah.
Harvey
Crazy.
Wilson eyes.
Yeah, that too. Phil Ramos, how do you know, like when you're these two detectives in this line of questioning, sort of how do you know that you're wrapping it up? How do you know that you got everything you need? She starts to say, well, I probably need notorious, but she never says, I want my lawyer right now. So they could have kept going. So how did they know, okay, we're done?
Because they're not going to get any more from her. They got everything that they needed. She's coming up with all kinds of ridiculous excuses. You know, they're asking her questions that they already know the answer to, and her answers were just out there. So, you know, in their minds, they're like, you know, let's just wrap it up. We're done here. So I wanted to ask Natalie, did they challenge that interview in court? Did the defense try and keep that out?
They did, but it actually came in.
Okay.
How long was the trial?
I don't remember that. At the time, there was not YouTube. And so I followed a blogger who was literally live blogging the entire case. And I was reading transcripts. Wow. Back before we had STS.
Yeah, way before. This is, I'm going to leave this up for the remainder. This is Sherry, right? I hope. Yeah, this is her, the victim. Pretty woman taken way too soon. Phil Ramos, take us, it has to be, and I asked you about this at the beginning, like when one of your own breaks bad, if you had to guess, what do you think the mood was like in that police department that day when they cuffed her and bring her in, and she's now arrested, never to see the light, at least not yet, of day, because she's ultimately convicted in the murder of Sherry Rasmussen. Yeah. What do you think the mood was like in that department after those cuffs were clinked onto her?
A lot depends on how well she was liked. If she was liked by the other officers and she got along with them, then they were going to be somber and ugly day at the LAPD. But if she was not well liked and didn't have a lot of friends, and who gives a shit? You know, she got what she deserved. I would have expected protocols at LAPD that those two detectives that did the interview, whether they physically arrested her and put the cuffs on her, or if the supervisor did that. Here we hand that over to a supervisor, just because you don't want one detective arresting another detective, and because of you take it up a notch. You have the supervisor do the ugly work, and that's part of what they're supposed to do anyway. In the two cases that we had here, we did the interviews, but it was actually the sergeant, the lieutenant, that put the cuffs on the officers and transported them to the jail.
The one other thing is that Stephanie was also married to an LAPD cop. So it's very complicated.
Oh, wow.
Because they also knew her husband, who also worked there.
And he was working there at the time of this interview.
Yeah, I believe he's still with LAPD.
Really?
I looked, yeah.
Wow. Wow, that's a long career.
She retired and is getting her pension for life, by the way. So.
Oh, really?
She's faring okay.
Wow. This is a book you must read, Sisters in Death. The author is Eli Frankel, who has, as you see, astute observations about this. Wait till you read about the Black Dahlia, and he may or may not have cracked the case in this very book. Eli, quick final thoughts, your takeaway. These stories are always more interesting than fiction itself.
My takeaway is that Natalie Levesque really knows how to pick an interesting case, and I can't wait to read the book that is written about this and really dive in, because I did not know much about this case.
Yeah, what's the title of the book? Do we know?
It's called The Lazarus Files.
We'll have to go read it. I need to read more. Natalie Levesque, she's an attorney, and she is a true crime devotee. She knows more about true crime than just about anybody I know. And her other half knows just as much. She's got a twin sister. I'm not sure what happened in the genetic pool there, but it was very true crime heavy. Natalie, thank you for bringing this to us. This will be a tradition. Eli will bring something. Phil will bring something. We'll get Steve Cohn in here. It'll be an absolute unmitigated disaster with everyone, but we'll get it done. Natalie Levesque, what's the cautionary tale here? What are your final thoughts on this?
I think the cautionary tale is the person who's living next door could have a secret, like they murdered someone 26 years prior. It's really kind of terrifying. And, after this murder, she got away with it for a long time, but I'm really happy there was justice.
Yeah. And Natalie, just remind us again. So these were the sentencing guidelines from 86. So she will not spend life in prison. She will not
spend life. No.
How much longer do we think she'll be in?
Well, parole board already suggested she got out. So maybe 2 to 3 years she'll be out. She's in her 60s.
Wow. And that's a lot of life left if she's healthy, which it looks like she is. Thank you to Natalie. Phil Ramos, he is the godfather of true crime, 3-time Officer of the Year, Las Vegas, homicide detective, retired, undercover narcotics, you name it, he's done it. Phil Ramos, what does this say to the long arm of the law? You can commit a crime, even if it was back in 1986. It's now 2026, and they're coming for you. Will law enforcement eventually catch up with your bad deed if you committed one?
Yeah, eventually. Unfortunately, there's going to be plenty that we don't get a chance to knock on the door and say, hey, that day that you were worried about is here. Turn around, put your hands behind your back. But the developments in science and DNA are just incredible, man. I shake my head every time I think about it. When I left the cold case unit, I was reading text messages from one bad guy to another that were 10 years old, 10-year-old text messages, and we had access to them and we could read them. And technology is just going to keep getting better and better and better.
Getting harder and harder to commit crimes. Huge thanks, Natalie Levesque, Phil Ramos, Eli Frankel. If you want to read a great true crime book, get out there. Sisters in Death by Eli Frankel. It's the story of the Black Dahlia, the most famous cold case that there is in this country. On that note, we will see you on the flip side. In the comment section, let us know what you think. What do you think of the commentary? What do you think of the interview? What do you think of Stephanie Lazarus? And this, of course, is all about justice for Sherry Rasmussen and John Rutan, her husband, at the time of her death. Thank you for being here. Guests, stick around 1 second. We'll see you soon.